Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Tuesday, February 24th, and this is my quick look at notable updated trends and ATS results throughout the top 25. The latest college basketball rankings have just come out. Starting with the top 5, Kentucky continued their ATS bounce back with 2 more covers last week, so they've now covered 3 in a row after that 5-game ATS losing streak. They were a 25-point favorite over Auburn, but they won by 35, and they were a 13.5-point favorite on the road at Tennessee, but they won by 18. So at least recently, they have been even more dominant than their odds have been anticipating. But going forward, as always, be careful with Kentucky because they can easily get overvalued, and we've seen that already this year. But they are truly a notch above everyone else right now, so getting those huge margin wins is also very doable for them if they're relatively motivated and rested. It's really all just about how huge the spreads get with Kentucky. And Virginia took another ATS loss without Justin Anderson last week. They've now lost 3 of their last 4 games against the spread without him, as I suspected might happen. And now starting point guard London Parantes is dealing with a broken nose and a mild concussion. So Virginia may continue to have fade value going forward. We'll see what the lines are for their upcoming games, but they're clearly getting a bit banged up. They still seem, though, to be getting a lot of respect with their lines. And Wisconsin got 2 more unders last week. They've now gone under in their last 5 games in a row. And as I mentioned in my recent preview video for Wisconsin, I think that under trending may continue for them to the end of the regular season. Then moving on to 6 through 10, Villanova got yet another cover in their 1 game last week at Marquette. And if you've been following my videos, that was something that I was expecting. Although their lines are getting up there now, it was a really big spread for that game. They were a 9-point road favorite, and they won by just 11, so it was a close cover. And maybe the market will be adjusting for Villanova in upcoming games. But as of now, they've covered their last 8 in a row, and that's an awesome run, obviously. And Arizona, the Villanova of the West, actually did see their lines finally catch up with them. They split their 2 games against the spread last week, and after having covered 8 of their previous 9 spreads, they got an ATS loss on Saturday when they beat UCLA by 10, but they were a 14-point favorite. And their other game last week was a 30-point win over USC, but they were a 24-point favorite. So that looks pretty ominous as far as how big Arizona's upcoming spreads are likely to be. I'm not sure they're going to be able to continue covering for the rest of the regular season as they have been over the past 5 weeks or so. And Kansas lost both of their games against the spread. They've now lost 3 in a row ATS, but they have an excellent home record against the spread this year, and their next 2 games are at home, and I definitely wouldn't want to fade them in either of those, at least for now. And Notre Dame, as I said, might happen in my preview video for them, went way over in their 2 games last week, but looking ahead, I wouldn't expect the same kinds of results. They're going to be playing Louisville and Clemson. And Northern Iowa, now ranked in the top 10, continues to also steamroll over their MVC competition against the spread. They've covered both of their games last week, and they're now an amazing 10, 1, and 3 against the spread over their last 14 games. I would be a little careful with them, though, in their last 2 regular season games. 2 of those last 3 covers that they got were by just 1 point, and both their upcoming regular season games are going to be against tough MVC opponents, Evansville and Wichita State. And then looking at 11 through 15, Wichita State got 2 more covers last week, and they're now 4-0-1 against the spread over their last 5. Iowa State continues to roll. They got 2 more covers last week themselves, and they're deep and balanced, and they look well built to get covers down the stretch of the regular season. They're 5-2 against the spread over their last 7. They have 4 regular season games coming up, all against typically tough Big 12 competition, but they're looking pretty strong right now from an ATS perspective. And North Carolina got 2 more overs last week, continuing their strong over trend recently. They've now gone over in 10 of their last 12, but I'd be pretty careful with their overs going forward, especially in their 2 upcoming road games against Miami and Georgia Tech. Both those teams can pull high-scoring teams down to unders, and especially when they're at home. And then moving down to 16 through 20, Louisville continued to lose against the spread and to go under, as I suspected might happen with them. They had 3 games last week. All of them went under, and they lost all of them ATS. They've now lost 4 in a row against the spread, and they've gone under in 7 of their last 8. And that ATS losing looks like it might continue for the rest of the regular season. Their next game is going to be a tough one, a road game at Florida State, who's probably going to be getting some points as a home underdog. And then they have 2 home games against top ACC competition, Notre Dame and Virginia. And Louisville has been particularly overvalued at home this year. They're 3-11-2 against the spread at home on the year. Virginia, though, be careful with them. As I mentioned earlier in this video, they are dealing with some serious health issues, and that'll likely be a key factor when that game rolls around on March 7th. And then Arkansas took 2 ATS losses last week. That surprised me a little bit. They had won 5 in a row against the spread before those 2 games, but their lines look like they've gotten a little bit inflated now. They beat Missouri by 15, but they wound up as a 17-point favorite. And they did get a road win at Mississippi State, but they were a 7.5-point road favorite in that one. So they're clearly getting some decent respect on their lines right now. And then looking at 21 through 25, San Diego State and Providence enter the top 25 this week, and Oklahoma State and Ohio State dropped out. And Butler is still hanging around the top 25 despite dealing with a key injury that I mentioned in my Butler team preview video of them that I did a few days ago. And they took a bad 17-point loss at Xavier, and they've now lost their last 4 in a row against the spread. And I'm going to be looking for them to possibly continue to be overvalued and to be a good fade over their last 4 regular season games. And they also went under in their one game last week against Xavier, as I thought might happen, and I'm also going to be looking for unders to continue with them the rest of the way in the regular season. And that's a look at some notable ATS trends and results for teams in the top 25 in college basketball as of February 24th.